In this video, we'll do problems 14 and 15 of the review packet. So it says observers at points A and B are 30 kilometers apart. Okay, so that's drawn in for us. They sight an airplane at angles, here's the plane, of angles of 40 degrees and 75 degrees respectively, as shown in the diagram. How far is the plane from each observer? So I'm going to say I need to find x to figure out how far the plane is from observer A, and I need to figure out y to figure out how far the plane is from observer B. Okay, so let's, first off, when you see a triangle like this, you want to recognize that you have an oblique triangle, which means a non-right triangle to the left, and then a right triangle to the right. So you can fill in lots of angles here. The 75-degree angle has to be supplementary with the angle next to it, which means they have to sum to 180 degrees. So now I have another angle inside the oblique triangle. Okay, so can't I get the other angle up top in that oblique triangle by saying 180 minus 40 minus 105, and that gets me 35 degrees. And as long as we're playing now with degrees, I might as well get this one. It's going to be 15 because 15 and 75 has to be 90. Okay, so I'm going to focus my attention on this yellow triangle, this oblique triangle. Okay, so what I see is I've been given angle, side, angle. Okay, and I have the other angle as well. If you're given angle, side, angle, then that means you can use law of sines. Because you don't have a right triangle, so you can't use SOHCAHTOA. So in law of sines, I'm using the formulas that are right here, highlighted right in front of you. Okay, let me go back to my problem sheet. Okay, so let's use law of sines. Here's my setup. I'm going to say, let's try to find, I think I tried to find x first. So I said the sine of 35 degrees over its partner, which is 30, equals the sine of 105 over the missing side x that I need. Okay, don't put anything in your calculator. This is x times the sine of 35 equals 30 times the sine of 105. Divide both sides by sine 35 to isolate your x. And this goes in your calculator as one fraction. So alpha y equals 1, and the numerator is 30 times the sine of 105, and then my denominator is sine of 35. Okay, and when I'm done with that, I hit enter, and I'm getting that x is 50.5, and the units are kilometers. Okay, so this is 50.5. Okay, so now I'm going to try to find y. I'm just going to stay inside that triangle. And to find y, I'm going to say, use the same pairing of sine 35 over 30. But now I'm trying to find y, so I'm going to say sine of 40 over the missing side y. So first do your multiplication, because you have fraction equal to fraction. Divide and divide. And in your calculator goes this formula. Now, I can hit second entry because I just had that formula or something similar to it in my calculator. And instead of having it be sine 105 in my numerator, I have in my numerator sine of 40. So I'm just going to replace the 105 with 40. And I'm going to get my next answer, which is y equals 33.6. And again, we are in kilometers. And I have found both values that I needed. So the 50.5 is the distance between A viewer A and the plane in kilometers, and the 33.6 kilometer answer is the distance between B and the plane. Okay, so that solves that problem. Let's go on to 15. Okay, a triangle has sides of 5, 8, and 10. So let me just draw my triangle. And if this is 5, and this is 8, and this is 10, and I just made this ABC, what's the measure of its largest angle? Well, the largest angle is across from the largest side, so it has to be angle B. You don't have to find all the angles and then figure out which one's largest. The largest angle is always across from the largest side. Okay, so since I've been given only sides, and this is not a right triangle, I'm going to have to use my formula sheet. So let's look at the formula sheet. And what will I use if I want to find an angle? I'm going to use law of cosines because I had side, side, side. And I'm going to use one of those. Okay, so let me go back to my work. And I'm going to say I want the cosine of B. So I'm going to say cosine of B equals, and it's going to be what? A squared plus C squared minus B squared over 2AB, or AC. So that's my formula. So now let's execute that. But I'm going to do it this way. Angle B is what I'm looking for, equals cosine to the -1, because that's how I get my angles. And then A squared for me is 8 squared plus C squared is 5 squared minus 10 squared times 2 times 8 times 5. This is what goes in my calculator. So I say second cosine, I say alpha y equals to get my fraction bar, and I say 8 squared plus 5 squared minus 10 squared. I'm letting the calculator do that work for me. 2 times 8 times 5. And I'm going to close the parentheses and hit enter. And I am getting angle B. Oh, so sorry. Angle B is going to be equal to 97.9 degrees if I round it to the nearest tenth. And that completes this video.